I know what you're thinking. We may not get to see much of this. Why am I? What you're thinking, Big D? It's not Friday the 13th. I know that, which I'm just trying to see if you are paying attention. But you may know that it's been 40 years since this one came out. Here's a re-review of what is considered to be the black sheep of the Friday the 13th franchise, the fifth installment of the series, A New Beginning. PT's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Doyle, better known to as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a re-review, actually a solo re-review, of the 1985 slasher flick Friday the 13th, A New Beginning, aka Friday the 13th Part 5, released by Paramount, directed by Danny Steinman, starring Melanie Kinnaman, John Shepard, and Shavar Ross, and also featuring a cameo from Corey Feldman, who portrayed Tommy Jarvis in the previous film. Now, apparently, this sets set years after the events of the previous film and follows a teenage version of Tommy Jarvis, who is institutionalized in a halfway house near Crystal Lake because of nightmares of mass murderer Jason Voorhees, whom he killed as a child. Tommy must face his fears when a new hockey mask wearing murderer initiates another violent killing spree in the area. Well, apparently, this really doesn't have much of a Jason in it, but anyway, the film was released on March 22nd, 1985. Henceforth, today is the 40th anniversary of the film. Now, apparently, this features a high number of on screen murders than any other film in the franchise. Aside from its gore and violence, the film also became known for its explicit nudity, sex scenes, numerous depictions of illicit drug use. The book, Crystal Lake Memories, A Complete History of Friday the 13th, details that behind the scenes, the production was plagued with rampant drug use. Yikes. Now, the film was initially going to set up a new trilogy of films after the final chapter with a different villain for the series, but after a disappointing reception from fans and a steep decline in box office receipts from its predecessor in Part 3, for well, they brought Jason back for the next film. But I'm getting too far ahead of myself, though. Of course, this film was heavily dissed and what have you. Now, before I get started, if you did not see my solo re-review of the first installment of the Tommy Jarvis trilogy, which of course I originally did the three films together years back, but of course last year I did a solo re-review of Final Chapter. Now, if you have not seen my re-review of it, click on that card to take you to it'll take you to the review right away. Okay, that about covers it. Alright, let's get into the story. 5 years after killing Jason Voorhees in the final chapter, a teenage Tommy Jarvis is tormented by nightmares of the mass murderer, resulting in his internment in numerous psychiatric hospitals. He is eventually transferred to the Pinehurst halfway house, managed by Dr. Matt Letter and his assistant Pam Roberts. There, Tommy meets a circle of other teens, including lovers Eddie and Tina, the stutterer Jake, Goth Violet, the serious Robin, the compulsive ear Joy, and the young Reggie, whose grandfather George works as the facilities cook. The group is disliked by their neighbor Ethel, as Eddie and Tina have made a habit of engaging in sexual intercourse on our property. For this reason, Matt forbids the group from venturing outside the facility's premises. Vic, another patient in the institute, is gripped by a fit of madness caused by Joy's constant pestering and brutally kills him with an axe, leading to his arrest. That evening, two greasers named Vinny and Pete are murdered by an unseen assailant after their car breaks down, and a diner waitress and her boyfriend are killed the following night. The sheriff hypothesis that Jason Voorhees has come back to life and is the perpetrator of these murders, while Tommy himself is rendered a suspicious party. Well, now this kind of goes back to the basics of the first film being a whodunit film in a way. Yes. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. The next morning, Amy and Tina disobediently go into the forest and have a little SEX while smoking the weed. Well, the weed and what have you. Marijuana. You know what I'm saying. They are watched by Ethel's farmhand Raymond, who is killed soon after. After returning from washing off in the pond, A finds that Tina had been murdered with garden shears right through her eyes, and he soon meets the same face, only by a band twisted right into his eyes and fracturing his skull. Meanwhile, Reggie begs his grandfather to visit his brother Demon, who has just returned to town, and Pam offers to accompany him while bringing Tommy along. As Pam and Reggie enjoy their visit, Demon offers them enchiladas with his girlfriend Nia. Tommy meets Ethel's son, Junior, and gets into a fight with him, but then runs away into the forest after realizing his actions. After Pam and Reggie leave to find Tommy, Demon has severe diarrhea from the enchiladas and runs to the outhouse. While using the outhouse, he and Anita are slaughtered. Upon Pam and Reggie's return to the Institute, they are warned of Matt and Reggie's grandfather disappearing. Pam searches for them, entrusting Reggie to Violet, Jake, and Robin. At this time, Ethel and Junior are killed, as are Jake, Robin, and Violet after Reggie falls asleep. Reggie awakens just as Pam returns, and they discover the trio's corpses in Tommy's room. Moments later, the killer, seemingly a resurrected Jason Voorhees, bursts into the house. Now for well, the big ending here. As always, you know the procedure. You have 5 seconds to stop this video at once. Go to the description box below and fast forward to the time below. If you've seen this movie already, please continue. Okay, you've been warned. After a long chase in which Pam and Reggie find the corpses of a paramedic, Matt and Reggie's grandfather, Jason, is struck by a tractor and then lured into a barn. Tommy returns and is attacked by Jason. He defends himself but is knocked unconscious after being helped to the loft area of the barn. Pam and Reggie, who've had the time to regroup, set a trap and kick Jason from the loft window, but he holds on and grabs Reggie. During the commotion, Tommy regains consciousness, grabs Jason's machete, cuts it out, and Jason falls from the loft window onto a tractor harrow, which kills him instantly. In the process, the killer's hockey mask comes off, revealing that he's Roy Burns, one of the paramedics who arrived at the scene of Joy's murder. The police later identified Roy as Joy's father and determined that he went insane after his son's death and sought revenge inspired by the stories of Jason's killing sprees. While recovering in the hospital, Tommy has another hallucination of Jason, but he faces his fears and makes him disappear. He then hears Pam approaching and smashes the window to appear as though he has escaped. When Pam rushes in, Tommy appears behind the door wearing Roy's hockey mask and wielding a kitchen knife. End of story. So, what did I think of Friday the 13th, A New Beginning? Though this was formerly one of my least favorites in the franchise, I will say it has grown on me a little more over the years and what have you. This is considered to be the black sheep of the franchise and what have you. Making it the second time in a horror franchise where we had a sequel become the black sheep, aside from Halloween 3 Season of the Witch 3 years prior. Well, actually, correction, 2.5 years prior. Then, well, you get the idea. Anywho, this film is kind of a mixed bag and what have you, but it does have pretty good kills and what have you. Despite getting a heavily dissed reception, it still made 21 million on its $2.2 million budget. When it opened, it just narrowly beat out Porky's Revenge, as well as Mask and The Last Dragon. Rotten Tomatoes has it at 17%, and Metacritic has it at 16 score. The Chicago Tribune's Gene Siskel criticized the film for a perceived lack of originality and said there is little suspense. Variety wrote that it has even less variation than its predecessors. The New York Times' Vincent Canby wrote, "It's worth recognizing only as an artifact of our culture." Yep. Sure, it may be the some of the films and what have you all over again, but it still has the highest amount of of a body count, and what have you. So I really say this film's pretty underrated and what have you. Since I have not re-ranked the franchise lately, I will say this film kind of comes smack right dab right in the middle of the franchise in my ranking. By the way, yeah. Now, the good thing was they had Harry Manfredini back on board to do the score for the film, which I think was really something. Now, I think it had some pretty good music and trying to. I said, please stand by. Okay, sorry about that. I had to look up who did the song here because we see Violet get down to our doing our moves to this song, which was His Eyes, which was done by the band Pseudo Echo. Yeah, that's one thing that I'm sure a lot of people will memorize this by. This film also even has a truckload of language and crazy lines and what have you than you can ever imagine. Seriously. But it's not really bothering me too much now after I've watched it so much. Now, for our cast, we have Melanie Kinnaman playing Pam, who is really good. John Shepard played Tommy Jarvis. I'd say he was pretty good. Shavar Ross played Reggie, really good. Richard Young played Matt, not bad. Dick Wyand played Roy, good. Marco St. John played Sheriff Tucker, not too bad. Tiffany Helm played Violet, she wasn't too bad. Juliet Cummins, who also went on to appear in other horror films. Well, I know one of them was Slumber Party Massacre 2. She was in that. I think she was in some others. She played Robin, not too bad. Jerry Pavlon played Jake. Oh, man, believe me, there's so many to mention. Why have you? Now, I will say we have Miguel A. Nunez Jr., who, of course, appeared in the first Return of the Living Dead film. And, of course, he also went on to appear in Leprechaun 4, Slam Dunk Artist, the live action Scooby Doo film, and many others. He played Demon. Yeah, pretty good character. And Ania was played by Jerry Fields, who I found out recently played Misty Magic in the Kid Superpower Hour, which is Am in 1981. So anyway, I will say this has tons of kills, but hard to decide which one's a good kill. But there's so many and what have you. It's not that I have anything against it. The Owl House kill kind of I just can't bear to watch and what have you. But at least I'd say it's not that I have anything against it. It's just kind of shocks me and kind of makes me feel a little cringy and why maybe not 110% though, but I just can't bear to watch him, what have you. But until once the aftermath occurs, then I see. Okay, so please don't hate me for this. Okay, I have nothing against them. Well, before the devs or well, now you get the point. Okay. So with everything said, Friday the 13th, A New Beginning, it's a mixed bag in my view, but I don't really think it's a bad movie by any means. Anyway, after this, they would bring Jason back the following year in Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, which I think was a much more awesome film and what have you. So, enough said about that. But with everything said, would I recommend Friday the 13th A New Beginning? I would only recommend you give this a one time watch if you are a hardcore completionist of the Friday the 13th franchise. So, definitely give it a one time watch. So, what did you think of Friday the 13th A New Beginning? Let me know in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Continue to help support my channel, make it grow, and make the views grow. Tell all your friends about my channel, give them to know me. Maybe they'd like to be a part of my Big D Nation. Share my vids with your friends if you like, if you wish. Join me next time when I bring to you another re-review for an anniversary, and it's Pretty Woman. So if you like this, check out my reviews of a couple of other um, sequels and what have you. In the upper left-hand corner is my re-review of the second Friday the 13th, which is part 2. The upper right-hand corner is my re-review of part 3, which I failed to do before I did final chapter, unfortunately. Or if you would like maybe another film that's a black sheep of a franchise, check out my re-review of Halloween 3 Season of the Witch from 1982. And the bottom right hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.